It's Friday, and it's a long weekend. I mean, what more could we ask for? Well, the first story tonight, I've got a little bit of an echo here. I'm not sure what's going on. Uh-oh, what happened? What happened? I'm sorry. I got kicked out for a minute. Um, for some reason, I've got it. I hope you're not hearing. All right. So our first story is about a miracle birth, and this is a mom delivering her baby on the highway. Look at that beautiful family. On August 8th, Rebecca and Daniel Mahota were on the way to the hospital, anticipating the arrival of their baby, but what was supposed to be a routine drive turned into an unforgettable adventure when Rebecca's water broke halfway through the journey. We got in the car, the GPS said 56 minutes, and that was the problem, Rebecca told WCVB. Daniel quickly pulled over to the side of the road, and within moments, Rebecca was holding their newborn daughter, Summer, in her arms. He had pulled over to the side of the road. I was already holding her head, Rebecca said. Oh my goodness. Boy, we made it 26 minutes into the 56-minute trip. My wife is an absolute legend. The family waited for first responders who arrived shortly after and transported them to the hospital. While the joy of Summer's safe arrival was overwhelming, another surprise awaited them. Dania noticed his wedding ring was missing. Despite searching their home, the car, the ring was nowhere to be found. So days later, he and along with a couple of friends returned to the spot on the highway where Summer was born. Just as we were about to leave, he said, I looked down and by the grace of God, I found it right between my toes. I was scraping some grass away and just couldn't believe it. Now, 1 week old baby Summer is thriving, and both she and Rebecca are doing great. The Mahotas will forever cherish the memory of that miraculous day when everything that could have gone wrong somehow went perfectly right. Don't you just love that? That's a beautiful story. Well, here's an interesting one. Classical music lifts our mood. Now, I don't know if you knew this, but it lifts our mood by synchronizing parts of the brain. So, this is with a study of patients with dementia. Either whether Bach, Beethoven, or Mozart, it's widely recognized that classical music can affect a person's mood. Now, scientists are using brainwave measurements and neural imaging techniques to show exactly how Western classical music elicits its positive effects on the brain. This discovery could lead to effective ways to use music as treatment to activate the brain in people with treatment resistant depression. Ultimately, we hope to translate our research into findings into clinical practice, developing convenient and effective music therapy tools and applications. The study focused on 13 patients with treatment resistant depression who already had electrodes implanted in their brains for the purpose of deep brain stimulation. The implants are placed in a circuit connecting two areas in the forebrain, the bed nucleus and the nucleus accumbens, whatever that is. Using the implants, the researchers found that music generates its antidepressant effects by synchronizing the neural oscillations between the auditory cortex, which is responsible for processing of sensory information, and the reward circuit responsible for processing emotional information. The study reveals that music induces triple time locking of neural oscillations in the cortical BNS TNAC circuit through auditory synchronization. The patients in the study were divided into two groups: low music appreciation or high music appreciation. The research team found that those in the high appreciation showed more significant neural synchronization and better antidepressant effects, while those in the low music appreciation group showed poorer results. So I guess you got to love music a little bit for it to have its ultimate effect. But even if you don't, it can still have a positive impact. And on that note, check out my puppy. Maybe the video won't play. Oh, well, moving on. She heard some music and immediately responded and wanted to be right on my phone to see where it was coming from. She just loved it so much. All right. So there's an injured bald eagle. Oh, did you get the video to work? All right, let's move along. Injured bald eagle plucked from the river in a daring rescue by college staffers in Maryland. A bald eagle injured and alone near the Chesapeake Bay earned an A+ for the staff at Washington College after they made a daring rescue along the rocky banks of the Chester River on Maryland's eastern shore. 2 weeks ago, David Kramer noticed a post on Facebook asking if anyone could help with an eagle who seemed to have an injured wing and foot and was hobbling around on a dock over the river. Kramer, who is the director of the college's Center for Environment, where students are provided with a living laboratory for their studies of wetlands, farmlands, and forests, he also happens to be an experienced avian rescuer. He quickly grabbed two other department staffers along with a net and a blanket and hopped in a truck to locate the bird, which was not predisposed to give up easily, I'm sure. After approaching the raptor, it tried to fly across the river and crashed into the water. So they drove across the bridge and managed to gain access to a backyard where the eagle had landed on the opposite shore. Kramer approached the bird swiftly, and staffers were able to secure the animal's feet before lifting him up and bringing him ashore. They tucked that broken wing inside the padded blanket as they wrapped the eagle up for the trip back to their field campus, during which it quietly sat in her lap. Oh, it's so sweet. He the work that is done, Washington College is no stranger to bird encounters. In the last year, the staff has caught, identified, banded, and released over 13,000 birds, representing more than 125 species. So they've been doing this for a while, and they know what they're doing, obviously. So we have a wonderful eagle, safe and sound, which is beautiful. Well, one more story before we go on a break. A little girl traveling alone on a plane brings weightlifter to tears. Someone recently asked the question of Quora, what is the most heartwarming scene you have ever witnessed in an airport, restaurant, or other public place? Among the many touching responses, one answer by a man named Mike stands out. His story is so powerful. Here's what Mike wrote. It was clear that the kid across the aisle from me was flying alone, maybe visiting her grandparents or being shuffled from one divorced parent to the other. When the flight attendant comes to take drink orders, I ask if I might have two of their little bottles of water. I'm a weightlifter and a pretty big guy. The attendant nods, then, without missing a beat, the kid gets a mischievous grin on her face and pipes up, and I'll have two Cokes, please. The row behind her on the plane cracks up. The flight attendant glances back at me and quips, see what you started? And the kid just beams. The airline had sat her alone in the row. I guess I can understand why, but it's a long flight for a kid alone. She's singing a catchy little tune to herself. And so when the drinks are delivered, I decide to make conversation, asking her what she's singing. Oh, that, she says, clearly happy to have someone to talk to. Well, Grandma's always surprised when I visit by plane. You know how far you can come and how fast. I don't think they had many planes when she was little. I mean, seriously, they had a horse. Anyway, Grandma would tell me that she'd think of me from time to time and say to herself, I wonder where you are. I wonder where you're going. And then she'd always add, someplace important, I'm sure. I made it into a song for us. I love my grandma. Right now, I'm on my way to grandma's house and I'm just singing that song to myself and thinking the same about her. I wonder where you are. I wonder where you're going. That's all. Wow, I said, that's really sweet. So is it just you and grandma, or is your mom and dad coming out later? Oh, everything will be there. And mom's been out for 2 weeks already making arrangements. Arrangements? For grandma's funeral. Boom. You said it was like being hit in the gut. In retrospect, maybe I should have seen it coming. A huge frog takes up residence in my throat, and I realize she's been singing, I wonder where you are, about her grandma who's gone. Oh, pardon me. Okay, time for a commercial break, and then we'll be right back with more good news that won't make you cry. See you soon.
Please help us say thank you to our organizational sponsors, including the Hepperlin Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Center for Spiritual Living on the Lake, Unity Spiritual Center, Kitchener, Om Center for Spiritual Living, La Mesa, Satya Center, Center for Spiritual Living, North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and Center for Spiritual Living, Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. Thank you for making New Thought Media Network a place to be. Please come be you. And remember, like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
So, what can I say? Music definitely is a transformative, beautiful thing. And that music was just absolutely what Aurora loved in the moment. All right, on to real estate. Anybody looking to buy a new house? Well, if you live in Colorado, you just might find a rather interesting one. When I was a little girl, I used to watch the Flintstones all the time. It was like my favorite cartoon. Well, check this out, a real life Flintstones home, a property built about 200 million in a giant 200 million year old red rock. The two-bedroom house in Larkspur, Colorado. Did I say Colorado before? Hopefully. Has a unique style and the boulder incorporated into the interior of the home, perfect for a geology fan or Flintstone fan. I mean, maybe I'll move to Colorado. The home, which is on the market for $989,900, is integrated with nature, nestled around a 45-foot high section of one of Colorado's beloved ancient red rocks. The two-bedroom, two-bath property boasts Garden of the Gods-like surroundings, a picnic area, Milky Way views from the private hot tub, and all the peace and serenity a homeowner could wish for. Welcome to the Rock House. Entering through the pergola covered double custom iron front doors, you will realize this isn't your average home. It is perfectly integrated. Up the first set of stairs is the guest suite with barn doors and a modern bath, including a walk in closet and additional bonus room. I mean, is this place remarkable or what? The rock even protrudes into the office to soothe your stress while working from home. Wow. Travel upstairs to the landing where you'll find the home's feature outdoor deck and a view. Oh my goodness gracious. Check that out. Okay, I think I'm moving to Colorado, but in the meantime, a little more good news. Well, here's a story that could bring some great news to many, many people. This lovely little snail, the cone snail, poison is deadly, but may now lead to better diabetic and hormone replacements. So, deadly poison from cone snails can be found key to making better drugs to treat diabetes. The toxin from one of the most venomous creatures on the planet may also lead to new medicines for additional conditions caused by hormone disorders. They identified a component within the venom from the Conus geographus that mimics a human hormone called somatostatin. Okay, I'm not great with big words, which regulates the levels of blood sugar and several other hormones in the human body. The team, led by scientists from the University of Utah, said the toxin helps the snail hunt its prey. In humans, it acts like a brake pedal for many processes in the body, preventing levels of blood sugar, several hormones, and many other important molecules from rising dangerously high. The cone snail toxin works similarly, but is more stable and specific than the human hormone, which makes it a promising blueprint for drug design, according to the results published in the journal Nature Communications. How fascinating is that? From poison to cure. I'll tell you, there's so much going on in our world. Pardon me, and we don't know the half of it sometimes. All right, well, I kind of like diamonds. I don't know about you, but this one is I don't think I'd want to wear it on my left hand. Let's just put it that way. This is the second largest diamond ever unearthed, and it was found in Botswana. The Lucara Diamond, a Canadian company, found the huge 2,492 carat stone where they deployed X ray technology in their search. The diamond is the biggest reported in over a century since the Cullinan diamond was discovered in South Africa in 1905, measuring 3,106 carats. That one was cut into gems, some of which form part of the British crown jewels. Woo, fancy. Weighing about a pound, the massive rock will go on display in Botswana this week, and its discovery will help fund critical education and healthcare programs in the African country. Wow, that's amazing news. Lucara News release said the remarkable find was detected and recovered by the company's Mega Diamond Recovery X-ray transmission technology installed in 2017 to identify and preserve high value diamonds. Well, that is a very large diamond, and I'm glad it's going to do good work. Planning a vacation anytime soon? Maybe consider Alaska. And hey, how would you like to live in a plane for a week? Sure, why not? Plan a trip to Alaska and stay in these classic airplanes converted into luxury accommodation. A flying instructor in Alaska has taken on a second gig as manager of an airplane amusement park, complete with luxury accommodations built out of old, decommissioned aircraft. John Kutwicki says there's little red tape interfering with getting old airplanes up to his flight school and converting them into Airbnbs to use as a base to explore southern Alaska's incredible natural scenery. He's in the process of converting a third aircraft while also building a cabin into the top of a runway control tower for unparalleled stargazing, a frisbee golf course, volleyball court, and an authentic aircraft hangar to display the parts ripped out of the old airplanes. Kutwicki says runs the pilot school, but never wanted to go into commercial aviation because of how boring it was, remarking that driving for Uber is more exciting because you can talk to the passengers. I love that. It was after a trip to the south central area of Alaska that he fell in love with the state's wilderness and wanted to move that way. His plan was to develop his own runway and facilities for flying. But it quickly became so much more as he had to add cottages for the students and then cottages for the tourists who came via word of mouth from the students to experience the remote southern Alaska terrain. Alaska's gorgeous. So if you get a chance, this just might be the perfect Airbnb for you. All right. Now this story it just kind of blew me away a little bit because who knew this could happen? So a postcard finally arrives in Swansea 121 years after it was first sent, and the quest to find descendants begins. This postcard was slipped into a mailbox, or perhaps was supposed to be, over 100 years ago, but has only just arrived. Dated to 1903, the Christmas themed postcard had the address of the Swansea Building Society's Craddock Street branch, which still exists today, and the staff there hoped to find the relatives of Miss Lydia Davis, to whom it was supposed to be mailed. According to the BBC, Ewart, the sender, was expressing to L his regrets that he can't pick up a pair of an unspecified thing. With 10 shillings in pocket money, not counting the train fare, he continues, I'm doing all right. He ends the note by urging Lydia to remember me to Gilbert and John with love to all. When asked about the tardy delivery, the Royal Mail said with surprising seriousness that when an item is in our system, we are under obligation to deliver it to the correct address. Okay. It is likely that the postcard was put back into our system rather than being lost in the post for over a century. I like that story a lot. I don't know. It's so funny. All right. We got Canada Post here, and many of you have US Post there. So, all right. So, here's another story that I found quite intriguing. This is a surprising sophistication of the Viking legal code that's newly discovered in carved runes. So, a recent reinterpretation of the oldest extant Viking legal text in Scandinavia has shed light on the surprising societal sophistication of these raiders and traders. The text is from an iron ring found in Sweden, dating in the 9th century, called the Varsa ring. Though an undoubtedly strange piece to post civic information about fines, the runic inscription emblazoned on an iron door handle was once believed to read that fines had to be paid with an axe and 2 ore of silver, or axa ok ora toi. Well, okay. I don't speak. Yeah. Okay, we won't go into that, but was multiplied meanings, one of which is also, and professor of economic history at Stockholm University, Rodney Evanson, believes that means that fines could be paid with an ox or 2 ore of silver, along with being a reminder that the fine print of legal speak, whether medieval or modern, should always be read carefully. The inscription's new captures the depth of societal cohesion that the often isolated and disparate communities of Scandinavia maintained, even as their members were constantly sailing off to raid or settle in other lands. This indicates a much more flexible system where both oxen and silver could be used as units of payment. If a person had easier access to oxen than to silver, they could pay their fines with an ox. Conversely, if someone had silver but no oxen, they could pay with 2 ore of silver. A Northman who spent the majority of his time going abroad on the trade routes or to plunder England, France, the Low Countries, or the Baltic states would find it easier to get his hands on silver than an ox, considering his unstable lifestyle. Indeed, tens of thousands of silver coins from all over Europe have been found at Viking trading settlements. Well, that's a really interesting way to pay a fine. I'll see if my speeding ticket will. No, I didn't get one. Actually, I'm kidding. Okay, so John Cena. John Cena's got a big name. He's, kind of a dynamic fella. Everybody likes John Cena. And there's many reasons to love him, from his wrestling career to his record-breaking work with the Make-A-Wish Foundation, where he's granted more than 650 wishes. Talk about a good guy. But one of his lesser-known habits is kind of intriguing and interesting, a little inspiring. In a recent interview with Jeff Goldblum, Cena revealed that he carries a broken pocket watch with him at all times. Though it doesn't tell time, this watch serves a deeper purpose. The watch reminds him that he is enough and loved. It also keeps his ego in check, reminding him to stay humble no matter how much success he achieves. On one side of the watch, it reads, "Comparison is the thief of joy." Hmm, Let me repeat that line. Comparison is the thief of joy. Wow. How many times have you compared yourself to someone else? Ooh, yeah. Cena glances at this whenever he feels uncomfortable, inadequate, or undeserving of love. The other side bears the inscription Memento Mori, a reminder of his humanity and to always stay grounded in his roots. This simple broken watch is a powerful tool for self reflection, a way for Cena to maintain balance in his life and stay true to himself and the chaos of fame. Now, John Cena has now retired from wrestling, and my daughter was at a wrestling match where he announced it, and I think she might have cried. But anyway, bravo, John Cena, in giving us a beautiful message on this incredible Friday night. I want to thank you all for being here this evening. I know there was a couple little tech issues at the beginning, but that's me. I had an interesting week. I fell and dislocated my shoulder and broke the top of the humerus and fractured it. And so I'm dealing with a little pain, but I'm hanging in. And I hope you will too, remembering always to live your best life. Love where you are, what you have, and who you were born to be. Be you. Everyone else is taken. Have a glorious week. I'm Barbara Jean. You're listening to the New Thought Media Network and the good news this Friday, long weekend. God bless. See you next time.
On behalf of everyone at New Thought Media Network, thank you for being a member of our virtual family. Your financial contributions help share the New Thought message with people from around the world. Please visit and contribute at www.ntmedia.org/donate. New Thought Media Network. Come be you. And please like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, peace and blessings.